Hello and welcome to Pedantic Handwavium, the podcast that tries to explain fictional worlds using science. I'm Simon.
And I'm Jeff.
Jeff.
Simon.
What would I don't have an opener for this. I was going to do something with jazz.
I think I might have an opener.
Okay. Give it to me. Lay it on me.
Yeah, so you know how you've been dealing with that cold recently?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's this new drug that you inject directly into your eyeballs for that.
Really? That sounds scary. Are there any side effects?
Well, I don't remember the episode well enough for all the side effects, but I think you start killing.
Probably. It's like when they have like the like prescription commercials that go through all the side effects and then it always ends with death. This is just always ends with murderous intent.
It's important to have all those side effects in there.
Yeah. Because then it can be used as a military weapon. We're talking about Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, you know the one.
Yeah, recently released as a live action on Netflix. I have not finished it.
I have not started it.
So, but none of this will be a spoiler because we don't know what happens in it.
For the live action.
Yeah, we do know what happens in the anime.
Right, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
I seem to have forgotten most of it.
Yeah, well, I think I've watched it more recently than Jeff. Yeah. And so that's why I'm remembering more of it. I don't think we're going to spoil anything drastically for that because we're not really talking about there's really no parts where we're talking about
not talking about the plot.
Yeah. The plot is like very loose.
Yeah, I mean, the plot exists in there.
It exists in there. You have to be dedicated to find it.
Yeah.
Until the last episode, and then you're like, oh.
This is where all that plot was hiding.
Yeah. Look at all the plot I found. Also, listener, I will try and cut out all my snorts and coughs. No promises. There's going to be a lot.
Well, we look forward to all those missed snorts and coughs.
Yep, it's going to be good. Normally it's Jeff who's the issue. Today it's me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it still probably might be, but you'll be contributing this time. Finally.
Luckily it's not springtime, in which case we would both sound like old men who smoke, 12 packs a day.
Right.
So a brief overview of what Cowboy Bebop is. It is an anime whose style can best be described as like Afrofuturism, I think. That's still probably the best I've heard. It's got a very cool kind of blend of like American jazz and like Japanese martial arts films. So there's that. It's a story about a group of three bounty hunters. And just their adventures. It's
all those kooky adventures they get up to.
Yeah, when we say that the plot is loose, I'm like there is one episode where they drop a single vial of drugs, and that is supposed to connect it to the end of the show, and it's like a single vial, and it is like a single scene, and it's supposed to be like this big reveal, and like I totally missed it.
And all of us Americans missed it. Every time.
It's such an innocuous scene that I don't even know what episodes it's in or what it's supposed to mean. I remember it's there. So it's a series of, I would describe it as like a series of vignettes. Like a series of like short stories.
Aside from that like overarching plot that you get, that's more like really tied to the characters. Like, each episode is, like, its own thing, really.
Yeah. Each episode is pretty much standalone. You don't really need to know that much about the plot. The characters help. Knowing the characters help the story, but you'll pick it up pretty fast. They're very, like, almost one-dimensional. That's all. You only need to know they're, like, one-dimensionality to them. They're deeper than that. But for every episode, you really only need to be like, oh, like, Jet is just like a crotchety old man. Spike Spiegel's just kind of...
Spike's also a crotchety young man.
Yeah, he's a crotchety young man. Yeah, he's just kind of like a misanthrope. And Faye Valentine is just like a kind of like a weird...
crotchety young woman.
Yeah, a crotchety young woman. So let's get started. In reference to Jeff's opener, he was referring to a drug called Red Eye in the show. It's a fun drug that you don't inject in your eye, you spray it in your eye?
Yeah, I think it's sprayed, but inject is more fun to say.
It's true. It's like and it's supposed to enhance your sensory perception, your reflexes, and your strength.
Yeah, that all should help with a cold.
I mean, or make it way worse.
One way to find out.
Sensory perception seems like the last thing I want right now. If I could just like shut down a couple of my senses, I'd be probably happier. Mm-hmm. Is there like an opposite of red eye? Blue eye.
Blue eye? Yeah.
Everyone knows the opposite of red is blue. It's not green.
I mean, we both did go to the same place, probably because red shift, blue shift.
Yeah, I mean, like wavelength wise, blue is opposite of red.
Right.
That's true. I didn't think of that. Anyway, so what I want to know is, what is this drug? Why does it need to be injected into the eye? And that's pretty much it. Like, because like I'm thinking.
I mean, where do we want to start?
Oh, I think injecting into that's like the big thing about it. That's different is that it's injectable into the eye. Mm-hmm. I think this is a little crazy because this is a world where they still smoke regular cigarettes.
Well, I mean, you know, the whole vaping craze ends sooner or later.
Oh, yeah.
We all go back to cigarettes.
That's what it is. I mean, maybe I'd buy that. I would. I mean, I will say this for the show. If you are a drinker or a smoker, prepare yourself because there is no show that makes it look cooler. Maybe Mad Men.
Yeah.
But Cowboy Bebop
be right at home in the future.
Yeah. So I think we should start with why does it need to be eye applied? Do we think there's just like an ease of... Because like there's not a lot of... I guess there's some blood vessels in the eye.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was thinking. Like there's quicker access to it. Like maybe...
So it doesn't have to like go through like the nose or like an inhalation pathway?
Yeah, well even through like nose can be uptaken through like...
The blood vessels in your nose?
Capillaries, the nose. Like, unless like the retinal nerve or something picks it all up somehow.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. What if it's like really volatile, right? And so it's like got like a stabilizing agent in it. Mm-hmm. But the eye, it's less likely to get vaporized and brought to the inhalation pathways into the lungs. But it still has access to blood vessels. So I would say like maybe the only other way that you could inject it is like...
Okay. So whatever it is, like, you know, when it mixes with, man, what's the thing that lubricates eyes? Tears? When you're crying all the time.
Yeah, those are tears.
Like, yeah, it just mixes with that and then can be absorbed.
Yeah, or because like it has like red eye effect. So maybe part of it is that like it has like a component of it that's like a vasodilator. So it dilates all the blood vessels in your eyes, so they can more readily take things up. And really the reason you're not like injecting it, because that's difficult to do, and you're not snorting it or breathing it in, is because it's so volatile that it will enter your lungs and have to go a longer path through your lungs into your blood than if it would have just directly injected into your blood vessels.
Right. And presumably it's like, you know, with all the stuff that it does, like, I mean, I can't think of any other application aside from like fighting people afterwards, right?
No, I can see this as being like, because if it's like enhanced sensory perception, maybe it was started as like a cure for like glaucoma.
I don't know. Like, it makes sense to me that it's like, you know, this is designed for like soldiers or something, and like this is the quickest, easiest way to get it into the bloodstream because like they're not going to be able to shoot up in the battlefield.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or like even if it's like a way to be like not like almost like a morphine drug. So like if someone's writhing on the ground or something like that, it's easier to shoot something in their eyes than it is to inject them.
Right.
Like if they're in pain or something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, what do we think the like increase in physical strength? It's also durability. The one time we really see it used, the guy gets shot, I think 3 times and just ignores it.
I mean, is that just adrenaline?
I mean, it might be. It could be.
Like it just causes massive release of adrenaline into the body?
Well, yeah, I wonder. So the thing is that if we're assuming that the red eye effect is from vasodilation, adrenaline is a vasoconstrictor. So the opposite of that.
All right. Well, I mean, the medicine itself could include some sort of vasodilator, no?
I guess it could, just in the eye, and then everywhere else it's constricting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, initially it would dilate, and then, or it just has such a high dose of that dilator that
it just like
it
pops your blood
overcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That it just like pops the blood vessels in your eyes, and then everywhere else it's a vasoconstrictor. Huh, okay, yeah, no, I get that. And we're just doing it's just adrenaline. It's just an epinephrine, an EpiPen. Maybe it was started with like bee stings, and then they were like, oh wait, it also
this is also really good for fighting people.
Yeah, for doing stuff. Cool. So the next thing we have is. So I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember the episode where the guy has the religion?
This already sounds like it's not Mushroom Samba, the only episode I remember.
Okay, good. But Mushroom Samba is the one that they're stuck in the desert, right? And they end up eating magic mushrooms?
Yep.
Okay. It's a very kind of difficult to remember one. It's an episode where they're after a man who started a religion, and no one knows where he is. They just see him on the screen. But people from this religion keep dying, and so they suspect him of murder. So Faye ends up joining the religion, and then Spike follows her to save her, and Jet joins to capture the bounty. And essentially what it is they use this thing called Scratch, which is like a video game that essentially is like a VR headset that just operates off your brainwaves. And the religion uses it to copy your brainwaves into like a virtual space that you now live in, and then it kills your body. Okay,
so this is just what Meta is looking to do now that they've dropped the Facebook name.
Yeah, now that they've dropped the Facebook facade. Yes. But what I want to know is analyzing brain, like creating a copy of someone's consciousness.
Right.
How that works. How like a VR headset works that it like doesn't have any controls. It operates just off brainwaves. And then there's also a third portion of it, which is it has like this pulse, it's just called a high frequency pulse that is supposed to paralyze you. So I want to know how that works.
I mean, if it would be able to read the brainwaves, then presumably if it's controlled through them.
Yeah.
So,
but like,
I mean, I don't know how that would translate to copying the person, though.
Yeah, this is the thing that I'm thinking. Like,
that they're not actually copying the person, and that's just what the cult is telling them.
That could be completely possible. I don't remember the episode well enough to remember if that's the case. What I was thinking more. What I was thinking is like, excuse me, like you can't like stick someone in an MRI and like be able to tell what they're thinking, right? There has to be
Can you? Or I mean, not necessarily what they're thinking, but you can see
that they're thinking
what sections of the brain are lighting up, and you can make an inference.
Huh. I mean, I think it would be pretty difficult to even be like, because like when you move your hand versus your leg, your motor cortex lights up, but I don't know if it lights up in a specific way for your hand versus your leg.
Yeah, and I'm also not sure about that. Like, you're listening to someone, so like language center lights up, like you're thinking of something, so like, where all your memories live lights up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can really get like that fine detail.
Yeah. At least not invasively. Mm-hmm. So what I'm wondering is, how does this, like, can we think of a way where you could take just like the cursory electrical signals of the brain and somehow decode them to,
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking is maybe it's less like a functional copy of the person and more so like, you're given some stimulus that, everybody happens to have like a unique response to or something.
Yeah.
And like, they're just saying that like, this is you. And people who buy into the cult, like, oh, okay, so then I won't need like, my meat body.
Yeah.
Because they have that, mind, brain, fingerprint.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Like, it's essentially you've created an artificial intelligence that thinks it is a person's consciousness.
I don't even know if it necessarily goes that far. Like, I don't know if that's like a functional like thing in any way necessarily.
What do you mean?
Like, the way I was thinking of it is like, back what I was saying, you're given some like sensory, like, yeah. And, every person responds to it like in a unique way. Like they have their own unique like brain pattern in response to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that unique like fingerprint essentially is they're just sold like this is, the essence of you that makes you unique or whatever. So we're going to just save that, upload it, and then you'll be living in the internet. But that's just like, it's not actually a functional, it's not you, it doesn't think.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's just like, that's the evidence they use to be like, oh, look, you live in the internet now.
Right.
It's just be like, okay, yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a good idea. But it is like a functional video game.
How do you mean? So you would still be able to like interact with like the people that had died?
Maybe not necessarily that, but you could still play it. Like, that's the thing about it, is that it starts off as a video game, and the cult takes it and uses it for this purpose.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and then, they can just use that to send whatever, like, sensory input they need to get that unique response.
Huh. Okay. That makes sense to me. What I was going to say is that if they could paralyze people, maybe it's like sleep paralysis, but where like you can experience sensations and like try and move, but you're essentially just hallucinating. But I like your idea better.
I don't know. To me, my idea makes sense, but your idea is more interesting to play with.
No, I like your idea as like they're like just selling them kind of like this cop-out lie. Mm-hmm. But I think for the actual video game section of it, maybe what they're doing is once they're paralyzing, like they're doing like a neural block, and then what they're doing is essentially redirecting the motor cortex, like the motor neurons, and being like, okay, where is this going? Where would it go? And that is what we're going to fire in the game. So like you're essentially paralyzed. Yeah. You think your body is paralyzed, but your like avatar is not. So your body doesn't have that kind of weird feedback during sleep paralysis because it thinks it's still functioning. Everything's still working.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that bit.
Okay. Cool. And now it just plays into the cult thing where they're like, well, now that you're paralyzed, we can take advantage of you and all your money. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
Astral Gate.
Yep. FTL travel is always easiest for us.
Always easy. So they have something called hyperspace, which is a type of space in which ships can travel faster than light. There's that.
Yep. But they're like discrete like
points.
Lanes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like it is more like a wormhole than anything else, I think. But now it's fire. There's a wormhole.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe as violent as a wormhole for, I think, probably the next point you're going to bring up.
Which is what? When people get stuck inside of it, they can't get out?
Well, I think the sunstones or whatever is a result from, like, one of the gates breaking down.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, don't just a little teaser for 15 minutes from now.
Aha, a little amuse-bouche. Yeah, so FTL. Well, kind of the best explanation for FTL is like a fourth dimensional travel.
Well, fourth dimensional travel is just travel.
I'm sorry, I meant fifth dimensional travel.
There you go.
You're right. But, so what if we did this? I think that this is interesting and something that we have never kind of had an idea for. And I've never seen it done, and I don't know how it would work. What if instead of going up in dimensions, they went down in dimensions?
Okay, so it's like a -1 dimensional travel?
Yeah. And so, like, you have, like, this essentially fourth dimensionless box that you can, like, a packet that can somehow be like re-put into fourth dimension once it gets to its destination, once it gets to its third dimensional point. So it feels like no or very little time has passed for you.
I think that, the difficulty with that is like,
no time.
You can still, like, do your own thing during that, and like you can like speed up and slow down that travel too, can't you?
Yeah. So what if it's like a -1 dimensional travel, but you've like maintained a bubble of fourth dimensional travel? How would that work? So like a little bit of time passes for you, but not all the time. I also don't know how you would travel in the third dimension without the fourth dimension.
Right. Well, and even then, like you said, there's some like bubble of the fourth dimension, so like you can still affect matter and everything around you. FTL's hard.
What if you get compressed flat, right, in the second dimension, and then they use the third dimension in the second dimension to put you where they need you to go? So they turn you into a two-dimensional object with no depth. And then they essentially pop you out of that like a flat disc, and they place you where you need to go. Meanwhile, here's the thing, okay? Ooh, no, I have an idea. Okay.
I think before you get deeper into it, I'm pretty sure there's episodes where Spike like is just in hyperspace, and it's just like real space, except it's like a tunnel that you have to fly through.
Yes.
Like all other dimensionality exists in it. It's just a constricted tunnel that you can't leave.
Man, I had a really cool idea. Well, okay, never mind then. Let me think. Man, FTL is hard.
Yeah, it really is. Can it just be a wormhole and like the actual physical gate like does something
it's just like a stabilizer?
Mitigates the gravitational effects?
Yeah, probably. How about that? That sounds good. What if it's like so the thing I'm thinking is, what if it's like a wormhole, okay? But like essentially what the gate is doing is like supplying like a stabilization field for it. So it's like to make a wormhole you need to have like negative mass essentially. And so maybe that negative mass would normally like rip a hole in the universe. But if you're applying like a gravitational field to it, so that like it's essentially combating the like negative gravitational field from propagating outwards. Kind of like having like a negative magnetic pole stabilized by a circle of positive magnetic poles to make sure its effects are not felt. It essentially becomes neutral outside of the field, but it is very positive inside the field, or very strong inside the field.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me because what's it called in yours? Like the Jupiter incident or something? Or the Io incident?
Io, it's the Luna. It's Earth. It's I don't remember. Red Eye, Astral Gate. The Astral Gate accident was an incident, yeah. It's from a year from now.
Hey,
we can look forward to that.
Man, it's a shame that instead of all this space travel, we only have space junk that will encapsulate our planet and make it impossible to leave.
Kind of similar to
our
this
collapsing environment.
Yep.
Yay. Anyway, so yeah, because when those astral gates like break down, like it's catastrophic.
Yeah. Like I would assume, and this kind of goes into the sunstone idea where it's the matter that has interacted with this like negative mass gate, right? So it's like it is a substance of which there is like the same amount of material, but it has less mass than it should. It is somehow had like a like it's not like a boson, like it's essentially here. Let me think. It's kind of difficult to think about because the way I'm thinking about it is like it's as if you had like a couple of electrons, like say like 3 electrons, but instead of having a charge of 3, they had a charge of 1 because coupled with them are like a bunch of protons. So I guess it kind of makes sense, right? It's like if you have like
I don't know if that makes sense.
If you have positive mass particles, right?
Okay.
And then once this like wave propagates out because the destruction of the gate, it propagates out, and what it does is it penetrates matter with these negative mass particles, so that you essentially have like an object that got the same energy in terms of its like physical amount, but it has less mass.
Okay. And I guess is that like the only description of like the properties of whatever sunstone was it? I've forgotten already.
So the description I have for sunstones is that it's a piece of the moon. It is believed that spatial fluctuations were absorbed in the stones. Further, that the energy can be released and amplified by the sun. So I don't know. Maybe it's like the energy that's held within the sunstones, because they don't seem particularly practical for any other purpose.
Like other than just energy.
Like
storing it.
Yeah, but maybe that's exactly what it is. Like they're stored energy. So as you separate out these like positive mass particles and negative mass particles, there's like a point in time where they pull together, and then a point in time where they like release. Like it's essentially like it's like nuclear fusion, but in particle form.
Or maybe
fission. Sorry, nuclear fission.
I'm thinking because it's a result of that astral gate incident. If there's some kind of like quantum entanglement that happened in there somewhere.
Like what?
I don't know, like some kind.
As in, so the thing is that if it's quantumly entangled, the effect on the rock would affect something else further away. So you could create energy from them, but the energy would be created at a different point.
That's what I'm thinking, where it would be reciprocal. Like when it gets that energy input, the other point like outputs energy, which like wherever that is has feedback at like 2x or something.
Oh, so it's like okay, yeah. Or if you've entangled it in like more than one way. So it's like thermal energy goes to like something else, and then that ups the kinetic energy, and then the kinetic energy that's stored inside of the rock essentially goes up, and that you can harvest. So it's like when you put it into the sun and it warms up, it's like a feedback effect with the I like that. Right. That makes a lot of sense. And essentially you just need a ratio between the entanglement you put on that initial thermal energy and then the entanglement you put on the kinetic energy. And now you have something that will amplify that initial energy source.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it breaks a couple of laws of physics, but
yeah, it definitely does. 100%.
Well, it might also work where like it loses mass from the other object.
Okay. Yeah.
So essentially, ultimately, all you're doing is converting mass into energy.
Mass from somewhere else that you don't know where it is into energy that is in your hands.
Yeah. But you've done it in a way where it's like there's got feedback to it. So it's just once you change the object in your hand, it becomes more energetic.
Right.
That makes sense. To me, at least. I don't know about...
Yeah, I think we can bend physics enough to make that work, right?
Yeah. We can create whatever physics we want for this world. It works in this world. Maybe not in our world. Cool. So let's make a little bit of a jump and do... let's do Ein.
Let's do Ein. Everyone's favorite corgi.
Everyone's favorite corgi. So this is a...
Unless you have a corgi. Then he's your second favorite corgi.
Yeah, or, I mean, depending on the number of corgis you have. You might have 2 or 3.
Well, we'll have to ask the queen who her second favorite corgi is.
Who her second favorite corgi is. But he is a corgi who is accidentally picked up by the crew, not knowing that he has been genetically modified to be hyper-intelligent. So we've dealt with this before, like, how do you make animals more intelligent?
Just scoop out their brains and put computers in there.
Scoop out their brains okay.
Easy peasy.
I feel like brains are better than computers. Like... Yes,
correct.
If you have a computer in there, okay, you're gonna need cooling for it, you're gonna need...
That's what all the blood's for.
So the blood is the coolant for this computer.
Yes.
It's a liquid-cooled computer.
Exactly.
Okay. What is its power source?
Kibble.
You know what? You got me there, man. You got me there. So we think that this dog has just got a robot brain?
Well,
part
maybe robot brain, but yeah, like you said, brain's just superior to computers.
I very much I hold that true. Until we just create a computer that's a brain, and then I guess we're equal. What if it's like... Yeah?
Well, you do you.
Well,
so I'm just going to have more silly nonsense.
Well, how about we do silly nonsense first?
All right. Well, maybe you just, like...
Teach it real good?
Tack on a coprocessor on the brain.
Like an organizational thing. Maybe that's what's wrong with dogs. Maybe that's why dogs are so stupid. They just don't have organization in their brains.
It's simple as that.
Yeah, I would say, like, I like that. Like, what if you adjust the biology of a dog's brain? In what way could you adjust? Like, what can you get rid of? Ein seems to be complete. Like, maybe you get rid of just like sex organs and sex drives, just to free up enough space in the brain. I feel like it would help me out a lot.
I don't like... What?
I don't know. I'm wondering if instead of like adding something onto a brain, right? What can you get rid of in a brain? Like what RAM can you free up in a brain?
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So like sex drives, a one that can go, because I mean, I don't know. It only helps with the propagation of a species. It doesn't really help with the individual.
Right.
Maybe it's like, I don't know. What's other stuff you don't need?
Well, I mean, you need most of it.
Yeah.
You're just freeing up the sex drive, frees up that much RAM in a dog brain.
In a dog brain. What if you gave him more brains? Like, what if he has a brain?
Mush him in there.
Oh, I was thinking more like, what if he has a brain in his butt?
Corgis are known for their, voluptuous dog butts.
Yeah, they're round sitters. Is that what they're called?
A sitter? Yeah.
A sitter. Yeah. Because that's all I can think of, apart from like just jamming a brain into another brain.
Right, that would be silly.
What if it's like this? Mm-hmm. What if what they do is like you know how they do like...
or maybe there's like what's the term? It's not like secondary brains, but like different centers for like nervous system stuff. Yeah. Like instead of the brain needing to deal with stuff that the legs would deal with, there's just like a little sub brain that deals with it.
Yeah. It just like it is like that's one of the things I was thinking of. Yeah, is that it like what's the word? Delegates. There's a lot of delegation that goes on.
Yes.
They're kind of like an octopus.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good idea. The only other thing I could go with was that maybe they did like a single grain grown crystal, like where they like give it a seed and it grows with the seed. So maybe it's just like a very well organized brain that they control the organization for. But I like your idea better. I think
has lots of little brains hidden throughout.
Yeah, that just like that essentially like do a single task, and all the like forebrain needs to do is send them like a very short like, oh, this is all I need to do. React to this.
Yeah, like it sends it the command, and then like the little brains for his little toe beans have like all the instructions on how to do the command.
Yeah. It's like it's all what we're dealing with right now is like compression algorithms, essentially. Yeah. Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
How about one thing we actually could probably conquer right now is artificial gravity. Because if we have wormholes, certainly we could have artificial gravity. And they do.
Yeah, for sure.
On their ship. Do we think it is like just like the manipulation of gravitational fields? Which would imply that somehow they have like a negative gravitational field, I would think. Like that's what would make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can just have a positive gravitational field.
I don't know. I don't know how to make it work. Like,
Right? It's very difficult.
like what I'm trying to think through is like if there's something that makes like, you know, a lot of mass or something that's just super energetically expensive.
But here's the thing with that is that it would also require your ship to push that hugely massive object.
Right.
So you need something where your ship doesn't need to push it, right? Or
maybe it's just like a high frequency switch or something where like, you know, it turns off while the engine's thrust.
Yeah. And then
it just like pulses super fast, so like it's hard to like detect it as a human.
I like that idea. Especially because like essentially if you get it to pulse fast enough, yeah, like because gravity doesn't immediately stop. It will, like, because that has to move at the speed of light. So it's just in like an opposite frequency from your engine pulse. So you have like a sinker between your gravity and your engines.
Right.
I like that, and it's just something that just like generates a lot of mass. Or maybe it's like it is your engines, like it's just got a lot of energy that's just being compressed. So it's like a diversion valve.
Okay.
Like one side it pushes you, and the other one it just gets compressed, and then pushes and compresses, pushes and compresses.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
I like it too. I think that's a good idea. That's smart thinking.
Yeah. Between the two of us, we got a whole idea.
Yeah, a whole idea. So here we go. I think this is going to be our last one because I'm pretty out of it right now.
It's all that Robitussin you've been drinking.
I haven't done any Robitussin, but talking for this loud
that's a shame.
I really hate Robitussin. I hate a lot of cold medicines. They make me feel worse than the cold itself. I really don't like feeling like dissociative or like floaty.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's not fun for me. But here's the thing. So there's an episode where they have this intruder on the ship. They don't know what it is. Turns out, and I guess this is a spoiler for this single episode.
Right.
It is a rare Ganymede rock lobster. That when it was stored in the fridge for a year, grew fungus, which became sentient and tried to kill everyone on the ship.
Okay.
So I kind of want to know what fungus? What's going on here? How's this working?
So, like, is it just the fungus, or is the fungus like animating the rock lobster?
I think it's just the fungus. But we can have it animate the rock lobster. It's not.
Like, I'm resistant to having it animate the rock lobster because then that's just my go-to cordyceps answer.
It's true.
Which I love because it's terrifying. but I feel like I do
terrifying.
that too much.
I do too. Man, you're just, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That's true. I'm probably the oldest dog you know.
Almost certainly. I don't know anyone else who's been around since before the creation of the universe, so I'm going to say yes. But you never know.
Yeah, that's fair. There might be a couple more out there.
Who knows? You guys hide it very well. Apart from the fact that this is a public broadcast.
Yeah, well, and that's the trick, though, is people don't believe you when you tell them. Oh. So it's fine. You can get away with it.
Oh, like Cassandra.
Yes, just like Cassandra from Greek myth.
You know, you picked that up for quickly. I did not. I had to have Cassandra described to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so do we think it's like slime mold? Or do we think it's like...
like, it would have to be a slime mold, because, like, ambulating, right?
I think it's this, okay? I think it is a rapidly reproducing mold, right? And because it's so rapidly reproducing, it creates these, like, genetic... like, it evolves quickly. So I think once it consumes the rock lobster... It's only the evolutionary pressure is on it to like move, so it like slowly develops ambulation.
Oh yeah, because there wouldn't necessarily it wouldn't have a lot to survive off of, so it would have to move.
Yeah, and so maybe what's causing it to move is like the rapid generation and death of like individual cells that kind of like grow behind it and die in front of it. And then it get reabsorbed, recreated into cells, and it just has to constantly consume, which is why it's trying to kill all the members of the crew, because it sees them as just these really high energy meals.
Yeah, well, you know, which is what people are.
Yeah. I mean, for a bear, sure. Oh, man.
I mean, I like that. I feel like, didn't it have a poison or something?
It did. So it knocks Jet unconscious. And then it's just the poison is just a foreign poison. The computer doesn't know what the poison is, which would make sense because it's a poison that's literally just evolved.
Yeah, it's just some novel thing. Yeah.
And that makes sense that it might just be that, you know, it's such a rapidly producing creature that when you breathe in the spores to it, your body just doesn't know how to react to it. And it can react almost as fast as your body does. Your body just kind of shuts down.
Okay.
It's just like a immune system overload.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least that's what I think. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, you're just going to like anaphylactic shock or something.
Yeah, because it's like the most foreign body.
Right.
Yeah. You have no resistances to it, and it's just trying to eat you from the inside out. So your body just is like, well, we got to put all of our energy towards killing this thing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there is the thing that how do you do like a non-invasive poison detection?
How do you mean?
Well, so like Jet is unconscious. Spike scans him, and then finds out that he has got this poison in him. But that means that he is
okay. So what does the scan look like? Like, is it just a handheld thing that they hold over him?
Essentially, yeah. It's just like a computer that scans him.
I mean, how future tech are we expecting the computer? Because maybe it would be able to get, like, you know, a read off of the immune system and like...
And maybe it's just
close to the skin surface or something.
So it's like, it's kind of like that because Jet is the owner of the ship and is on the ship so much, it knows his responses to like various stimuli. And so...
Well, not even necessarily that, but it reads like, you know, it has higher like immune cells in the blood or something.
I mean, that just seems like that's very difficult to do without going inside. Because like you always have an immune system, and like your immune system is always active.
Yeah. And that's where I'm thinking, like, I don't know how future tech the computers and stuff necessarily would be to, like, would it be able to get a read on blood, like, overall composition through the skin?
Huh. I mean, I think it's possible. Assuming that, like, if you have, like, a fine-tuned enough, essentially, like, laser, like a wavelength generator, you can see what's getting absorbed and reflected by the blood in, like, a very narrow band, and be able to gauge it against what you know it should be and see what the changes are.
Right.
And be like, oh, this is, due to increased histamines or something like that. Therefore, he has a poison, but it's not a poison I've seen before. That makes sense. So maybe it can't identify any poisons. It could just be like, oh, he's been poisoned. I like it. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Look at that. We're inventing stuff all the time. Wormholes.
Please give us money to invent things for you.
Yeah. We'll invent them.
You will have to do all the heavy lifting, though.
Yeah.
We're ideas guys.
Yeah, we don't know how this stuff works. We're purely ideas guys. Cool. Well, I am going to go to sleep again. But
that's fair, and I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, you can go to sleep. It's pretty late for you.
I mean, I had a whole 10 hours of sleep last night, so I won't be sleeping until tomorrow.
Okay, that's weird. But that's our show. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, we enjoyed having you.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe to us on whatever your podcasting app is that you're using, or leave a review of us. People can find us that way, and no one really knows what reviews do, but we like seeing them.
Just makes us feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Fills our bellies with a warm feeling. Like when you're like kind of sick and you've got the chills and you're eating chicken noodle soup. That's what it feels like. You know that feeling?
Definitely. Yeah. Even the negative comments from the flat earthers.
Yeah, even the negative comments from flat earthers. We love it all. We love feedback. We've changed our shows just getting those negative feedback comments.
Now we make fun of flat earthers more often.
Probably not in the direction that they wanted us to make it, but at least we responded to them in a way.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Yep. What else?
We have a website. It's not cowboybebop.com.
No, that'd be
pedantichandwavium.com is what it is.
If we had gotten that URL, man.
Well, let me check. No, that's not how you check it.
Anyway, while Jeff's checking, we're also on Twitter at Handwavium. And you can also contact us either through our website or which gives us your emails. Gives you our emails, not us your emails. It's not how websites work. Or you can write to us on Twitter. Or tweet at us. That's what people do. Tweet at us at Twitter.
Yeah.
Thank you to Joe Sopchak for our theme music. And we're on YouTube as well. I believe most of our stuff is uploaded. I think I have to finish off publishing a couple stuff. But most of our stuff is up there and will be. And even if this show dies.
It will live on forever.
It'll live on forever in the annals of the internet until YouTube goes down or YouTube kills all of its small-time viewers. It's hard to say. It'll live on in my hard drive. So if we die and YouTube goes down, hack my computer or my Google Drive, and you'll find all of our episodes. Anyway, did you find out if cowboybebop.com is available?
Cowboybebop.com is not, but we can get cowboybebop.net for $900 plus $12 a year.
Wow. I mean, that's
cowboybebop.info for $12 a year.
I mean, actually, I would do cowboybebop.info over cowboybebop.net.
Cowboybebop.email.
.email.
Cowboybebop.church.
That's bizarre.
Gonna make a religion where we steal people's brains.
Well, I mean, now we're not because we just announced it on a podcast. I didn't know what you're thinking. You could just eliminate that during the editing process. Listen,
fun fact, you can't.
Well, I also already have to edit out a cuss word, so there is a very small chance that I'm going to edit this far into the episode. Cool.
Cowboybebop.pizza.
I mean, if that's the one to get.
That one's also $60 a year.
Oh boy, that is... Wow, pizzas are expensive.
I guess.
Unlike the food stuff that they are named after, they are very expensive. I feel like Cowboy Bebop, every dot pizza should be like, $1.20
come with its own free pizza. If it's going to cost $60 a year, you also get a free pizza each month.
Yeah, or it should be like $1.20 per year, and you also get like a 2-liter bottle of soda or something like that. Anyway, thanks for listening to us. What did we learn this episode? Well, sometimes science betrays us and ends up destroying half the moon and 4.5 billion people. So maybe
there you have it, people.
Let's chill it. Let's just chill a little bit sometimes.
Relax with those crazy moon experiments.
Yeah, I mean, take the vaccine, but moon experiments, maybe not.
All right, so I think that's it.
Yeah.
You have any new projects you want to announce?
I do not.
I'm not ready yet. I got it.
I'm always not ready because no one's doing anything. There's still a pandemic on, and so everyone I know is still like, well, I got things to do. And I'm like, well, great.
I'm still quarantining. Everyone says that we know. And with that, we love you, and we would love for you to get vaccinated and not infect other people.
Yeah, it's real nice.
Catch you in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Catch you on the flip-flop.
See you next time, Space Cowboy.